Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
After a hard-fought debut win for Marcus Aragon last week, the Spaniard looks to continue his strong form at his home circuit Aragon, the host for round 3 of the ARA Super Formula. Welcome to Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is AV McDonald with Samuli Kumo, bringing you this broadcast on our YouTube channel. And AV, this is a circuit that we have not visited a whole lot in the past, only our second visit in Apex Racing League. I know yourself have never driven a lap around this place, and so I think for us in the commentary box, and I think the drivers as well, a bit of learning to do over the course of tonight's hour-long race.
Yeah, this is a fresh track for the Super Formula cars. It's a fresh track for me. I did watch a little bit of the practice session here, and it's a good opportunity for these drivers to make some really good passes. You'll see turn 1, good passes, and I think some more. But like we've seen last week, Sam, at Twin Ring Motegi, they're going to be passing all over the place every time they can because of the boost. So should be a good event for round number 3.
Yeah, and you have got that very long straight, the straight between turns 15 and 16, which on broadcast looks insanely long. Like if you ever watch real life motor racing here, it just looks like that straight is the longest straight in the world. I think it's only about 800 meters, which isn't that long. You think many other circuits have straights over a kilometer, and yet yeah, due to the vastness of the scenery of this place, it's pretty much in the middle of a desert area, and so yeah, it is absolutely majestic looking is this Aragon circuit. We are currently in qualifying at the moment, and here's a reminder of the points situation going into this round. Fran Garcia at the top of the standings, followed by Josu Alzugare, and yeah, in the amateurs as well. A decent round for Fabio Grassetto last time out, and yeah, Hakon Nicholson as well, taking the round 1 victory before, but yeah, of course the one-shot qualifying making its return for this round of the season.
Yeah, that one-shot qualifying, I tell you what, we've seen it the last couple weeks and how important it is to make sure you get a really good time and get some heat in the tires, especially at a track like here. And so you'll see some timers go up, like you said previously. The drivers that are higher in the iRating go towards the end of the qualifying session, so expect the times to go down. But Alicon put a really good time in, so it'll be tough to beat, but it's good to see Alzugare back here in the session. after he's gone last week. Home track for those guys.
Dylan Platt, I think, has got another invalidation. I think that might be 3 from 3 for him this season. Dylan really hates qualifying. And I think you said last time out, didn't you? Watch out for Dylan Platt in the next round of the championship. Because he had such good pace, but it seems like he's compromised himself again.
Yeah, he's always had a really good pace in the race, but when it comes down to qualifying, you have to keep your lap clean, because if you get it off track, that's just, they'll null and void your time. So not a good qualifying effort from him, but look to see what he can do in the race.
So we've got our last group now just starting their laps. We've got Mick Halach, Carl Winkler, Lennart Schnabel, Chris Rosenkrantz, and Kevin Zwemstra, the last drivers. And this man, Lennart Schnabel, currently the championship leader, managed to score a second and a third so far this season, I believe. So he's got a decent margin because Rosenkrantz, who has been by far the fastest driver this season, arguably, has had a tricky one at Spa and then had a qualifying ban last time out. Watch out for Rosenkrantz once again. I think Rosenkrantz, yeah, maybe just starting his lap, I think, at the moment, or maybe, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with Rosenkrantz. But Schnabel making his way around this lap and one of the most awkward downhill chicanes we have on the circuit.
Yeah, Schnabel, last week at Twin Ring, Sam, he, could have tried to go a little bit harder, but it was in points conservation mode, sitting in a good spot and just having patience. And I think that's what a lot of drivers, it's hard to learn that, especially when you're a little bit quicker, but or you're just maybe a little bit off the pace and the drivers in front of you make a mistake, just to stay in line. So really good point stay for him last week. I think going into Aragon here, I think he's got another good opportunity to get good points for tonight. He's always has pace. The other thing, Sam is a good smart driver.
Yeah, he's certainly thinking about the long run as he comes into this exceptionally tight hairpin at the end of the lap. And then you go through this right and left, which even in these super performing cars can be a difficulty due to the large power output. We'll see where Schnabel can put his car, and he moves up to third position, quarter to a second off. Any other improvements? Winkler only 11th. That's a long way off for Carl Winkler. But to be fair, the times are fairly close. So we're talking about separated by 8 tenths. We have got 22 drivers, just a lot of them invalidating their laps. Palach moves up to 6th. Zwemstra only 13th. He'll be disappointed with that as well. And Chris Rosenkrantz, the final driver. Now this guy was by far the fastest in practice. He was on fire last time out at Maitegi. Everything is pointing towards this breaking into the 35s and being a comfortable pole position. Is it enough for the pole position? I think he may have invalidated his lap time, or maybe he's only just starting, which would be a penalty even if he does get to pole position.
Yeah, Rosenkrantz always has speed, and I think even if he does start towards the back, he's going to be able to make some moves. But like you said, a lot of drivers with invalidated times, that's going to help out Dylan Platt, because if more drivers got good times, he'd be starting even further back. So I think he really enjoyed seeing all these people with invalidated times.
Look at John Gibbons. Oh, yeah, I was wondering about the IMS livery. I wasn't sure what was going on there, but yeah, not exactly sure what's going on with that Sims livery for Rosenkrantz. But yeah, he's trying to power on regardless at the moment. It looks like a pretty good lap at the moment. I'm not seeing many purple sectors, however, for him so far. He will just about get the lap in before the 20 minutes runs out, and he's keeping it all neat and tidy through the final chicane and then the hairpin to come up.
Yeah, it always shows a lot of pace here for him, and he's always running right on the razor's edge. It's super fast, but as you look on the top left, the timing scoring tower, it's just super close on time. We'll just see what Chris will be able to run. I think it's going to be very close, Sam. Super tight on times.
It's only 5th position for Rosenkrantz. I am very surprised, and I know that a lot of people will be saying, well, he hasn't won a race so far this season, but in practice, he was so quick. He was in the 35s. He did a 35.2 in practice did Rosencrantz, but in qualifying it's only a 36.7. And so, yeah, he has got some work to do, and of course will be at risk of a penalty later on as well.
Yeah, I think Rosencrantz, you know, starting in a decent spot. As long as you're in that top 10, you have a good shot, because I'm not saying it's easy to overtake Sam, but it's a little easier than some other cars with that boost. So we'll have to really keep an eye on that, because that makes a big difference, and these drivers are still learning when to boost and when to not boost, and you know, with the time limit and all that. So that's what I really enjoy about having the boost in these Super Formula cars. Just it makes the racing a little more interesting.
It is really good. I think everyone likes the boost element. Not everyone's super keen on like hybrid deployment and, you know, electrical deployment and stuff like that. But when you've got like a manual boost, it really does add a lot to the racing. So qualifying will tick down, and in fact we will advance the session. So we go over into the race a bit. Yeah, maybe we'll need to wait about a minute more. So yeah, Marcus Alarcon back on pole position, and of course, like, he was absolutely faultless last time out when we saw him. And yeah, I think he's going to be quite tricky to beat, because I don't think we really saw him make a mistake for the entire race, and he had to work so hard to finally take the lead. But he was patient about it, and once he got ahead, there was no looking back.
Yeah, I think you know, that's the one thing we've seen with him last week, is was very patient. I mean, he tried to make moves when he could, but it wasn't forcing the issue. And then when the opportunity came to make the pass, he went right around and drove away. The one thing I'm going to look forward to this week, Sam, is, you know, with that one pit stop, when are you going to make that pit stop? And if you're a driver that's, you know, stayed out long and, you know, trying to hold it off a little bit, how are you going to race around people? So we'll have to really wait and see on how we go here today. And this Super Formula grid has just happened to start on it.
Yeah, here we go then. Alarcon on pole position ahead of Alzugari. Then it's Lennart Schnabel in third position. By far our closest grid so far this season, because behind him is Giuseppe Lafare, only quarter of a second off the pole. A couple hundreds back to Chris Rosencrantz in 5th place. Then it's Lee Aberdeen, Make Palach, Marco Cesana. A new driver to the series is Marco, best of luck to him. David Muller and Cesar Giovinacci round out the top 10. Top of the AMS for this round is Edward Popper. Disappointing one for Fabio Gussette, 7/10 of a second off the pace. And then it's Carl Winkler, Kevin Zwemstra, Samuel Marr, Jay Walsh, Dylan Platt, Connor Gibb, Cesar Cabral, Dean Bayer, Garrett Spence, and Dorian Arroyo, rounding out the 22 cars.
Yeah, really good field here, Sam, for tonight's race. You know, it's a good battle all the way throughout the field. I think it's probably the tightest we've had all season long on qualifying times. So I expect some really good racing here, as the cars are still waiting to grid on that standing start, which is oh so difficult with these Super Formulas.
And because we didn't see them back at Motegi, have to do with the standing start. We had a rolling start for that round. But yeah, at Spa it really was a nightmare. I think Rosencrantz went from first down to about 8th on the first lap on that occasion. So Alarcon will be hoping for much better. We've just got Dylan Platt to get onto the grid. The driver starting down in 17th place. You can just see a hole in the grid on the outside line, but he does now populate that space. And we are soon going to get underway then for round 3 of Apex Racing Academy. Super Formula, the lights are out, and away we launch. It's a pull start for our pole sitter, and immediately into lead goes Hosu Alzugari. Lennart Schnabel trying to gain places as well, but I think he'll be able to limit the damage Alarcon to just 1 position loss as our race leader sprints away. We have got a big contact in the background. That's 3, maybe even 4 drivers with contact. I think Connor Gibb may have been bouncing off into the wall there and has lost his front left tyre. He will need a faster pair in these early stages. But it's Alzugari getting the lead off Alarcon. Good start for Edward Pop up a few places. And on the most part, there weren't too many changes apart from those who were involved in this big crash.
It looks like...
Oh, that was Gussette on the inside of Giovinacci.
Yeah, I hate to see it. Oh, and then Gibb goes for a ride. Just a really hectic start. Luckily, I got a faster pair.
Yes, they will certainly need it. So it's Alzugari second ahead already of Aragon. It's a Spanish 1-2 once again, looking for 3 Spanish victors in the first 3 rounds. If Alzugari could win, it would be 3 different Spanish victors in the first 3 rounds. Great to see that area of the world represented so much. And behind him, Schnabel under huge pressure from Lofare. Not a huge surprise that Chris Rosenkrantz once again got a poor start and he's dropped down to 8th place. Although with the batting ahead of him, he might be able to gain. Lofare on the brakes, locked up, goes wide, and going wide also is Lee Aberdeen, who drops down to 6th.
Yeah, very hard braking into that corner there. It's so difficult to, maintain the tires to not slide, and we're going to see that, more throughout this race. It's already happened on lap 1. I expect it to happen a little bit more as we have 37 laps here. So relatively single file right now from the start. There's David Muller coming to the pits. They're going to get that car fast repair done and swap the tires out.
And of course they can go to the end now as Aberdeen is wide again. But I think of all the rounds to do a whole race stint on a set of tyres, this is not the one you want because it is warm. We set the temperature based on the Apex Racing Academy conditions, and that itself is based off what the official series is like. This is the warmest air temperature you can get on iRacing, 32 degrees Celsius. Now, because it's in October in Sim, the track temperature is not too bad, it's 37, but it's still a long way to go, and this place has got a lot of corners. There goes Rosenkrantz, he's now past Aberdeen, he's trying to come back, Rosenkrantz, after a disappointing qualifying and a disappointing start to the race. He's up to 7th.
Yeah, disappointing start of the race for him, but you got to regroup and, and refire the car, and it's, 37 laps, plenty of time to get back up to the top of the charts. So in sim racing or racing in general, you have to have a short memory.
Neither of these guys using the boost. You can see that green lights as Schnabel's got past Aragon. It's all kicking off further back as well. But Schnabel, I think, might be up into 2nd position, and he is. And in fact, Aragon, of course, was leading before as well. So Aragon must have made a mistake on that lap, which has, allowed the positions to change around. So it's Alzugari. Apologies, of course, Aragon lost him on the first one to turn 1. So Alzugari is still in the lead, apologies, and it was just Schnabel moving past Aragon and up into 2nd place.
Yep, still early for him. Aragon, falling back to 3rd place, but this battle for 5th here, got Luke here just running a really good pace, but like we seen last week at Twin Ring Motegi, Sam, the more time these guys battle, the further back they're going to go from the drivers in front of them. So I hope to see them stay in line and try to catch up to the drivers in front of them. Here's Aberdeen and making a nice pass on Ma.
Yeah, I mean, Aberdeen, we saw him get overtaken by Rosenkrantz, didn't we? 8th, and then he's dropped back even further since we last saw him.
Yeah, 10 seconds slower lap from Aberdeen, but Samuel Moss in 2nd in the amateur division. As you see with the white on the left side of the towers, amateur, greens for pro. So he's sitting in a really good spot right now, but he's still wanting to keep trying to move up the field.
It's Carl Winkler, an awkward position for him to be in. He's now getting past Samuel Ma. Winkler with a poor qualifying, only in 13th position. And I think he may have been caught up a bit in that first lap incident, which took out several drivers. Connor Gibb, who I think is retired now from the race. Fabio Grassetto, seemingly is retired as well. Dean Bayer is still going, but he's only recently got out of the pits, and so too Jay Walsh as well. I think Kay Brower, Joe Benacci and Mola all had to take repairs. Those bottom 4, Walsh, Bayer and Grassetto and Gibb, having to tow back to the pits because their cars were totally destroyed. So that was 7 cars involved out of the 22 car field. Most of our front runners at least were able to survive through it.
Yeah, Alzugari, that front runner, sitting up in 1st, and Schnabel right behind him, and there's a little bit of a gap between Schnabel and Aragon. So if those two can start to try to break away from 3rd, that might be a really good battle for 1st and 2nd as we get a little bit further on in the race. The one driver I want to point out, Dylan Platt, up 7 spots, so up to the 10th place. So we'll see if he can keep moving up the field.
currently 13 seconds off these front drivers. But yeah, I think he will be having some good pace. Schnabel looks quick. And if he wants to use the boost here, then he could definitely challenge for the race lead. I don't think he's even going to need the boost. I think he might well be in passing range without it, because he's only a tenth of a second behind. He pulls to the inside. This is where he managed to get past Aragon just a couple of laps ago. And on lap 4 of the race, it looks like he's going to also be able to move past Josu Alzugari. And that's Schnabel, for what I believe is the first time this season, leads a race. Our championship leader looking for his first race win of the season. Alzugari is going to try to bounce back though immediately into turn 1, and he is almost accomplishing that. Schnabel has to go slightly off the circuit in order to come back, but the German succeeds on that mission. And it is Schnabel who takes it once again ahead of Alzugari with a looming Aragon in third.
Yeah, Schnabel just had a really good smooth line, put his car in a really good spot to keep the lead. The gap is half a second now, but like we said, a little bit of boost can get you a little bit closer. So with that battling, I would say that the top 6 cars are all within a good viewing distance of the lead. So let's see if Schnabel can pull away, because he really needs Aragon and Alzugari to start really battling for that second spot. But he is starting to pull away a little bit, so Schnabel just needs to keep running that good, consistent pace.
Aragon just losing a little bit as he run through turn 13. Unfortunately, there's no proper names for this circuit. As far as I'm aware, I haven't found any. Which is disappointing, because this is a MotoGP circuit and there are so many legendary Spanish MotoGP riders that they wouldn't be short on names to pick from, as Aragon with a fantastic draft, and he's gonna be through, puts on all the steering lock he can possibly muster, but it wasn't enough, and now there's contact between the countrymen, and Alzugari spins round. We wait to see if he's picked up a lot of damage from that. But that is the danger of that left-hander. It is a pinch point. And Alzugari was the loser out from that, and I think he did have damage, and he's decided to take his pit stop right now.
Here's a replay of it with Alzugari, and cuts it in a little bit, and a little contact was made. But if you're going to wreck, Sam, that's the spot to do it right when you get in the pit road as quick as possible.
Did have quite a bit of damage, and now he yes, taking tyres is Alzugari, so we'll have to do 31 laps on a certain tyre. He might have some good pace coming out of the bits with those specials, but it's not a big difference. It's a little bit disappointing. I would like a little bit more tyre wear, honestly, or maybe maybe for occasional rounds that it's a bit more extreme, because genuinely we have seen drivers do fairly well despite running a whole race with a set of tyres. Marco Susana, our debutant for this round of the championship, almost losing control of the car, and he's running wide again. And Nick Pallet, who's been so far quite quiet in this race and quite quiet generally for the championship as well, might fancy his chances at moving into the top 4.
Yeah, you know who's smiling now, Sam? Schnabel.
Oh, okay.
2.5 second gap between him and Aragon, so he's smiling right now at that gap, but Rosenkrantz, like you said, he's starting to make some move to catch back up. He's 1 spot down from where he started, but he's got pace, Sam. He's got the fastest sector 1 of the session, so I mean he's in a kind of a precarious, in a weird spot right now, Sam, because here's the thing: he's faster than a couple of these drivers ahead of him, but when there's 3 cars battling in front of you, it's really hard to get around just one of them.
Yeah, it sure is. Really definitely is. Wonder if Rosenkrantz might be the first man into the pits for a scheduled pit stop, but I think this would be very early for that, unless he's very confident about his pace, very unconfident about making overtakes. As Dorian Arroyo coming into the pits. Now, I imagine this is not scheduled for Arroyo. I don't know if he's had off at some points. Looks like a fairly standard lap for him though, so I don't think he's had issues on this lap, but maybe something having improved his laps. Our AM leader is currently Edward Pop, Pop has been threatening at some really strong results recently, and actually had a very good run in the F3 Championship. I think had to miss a couple of rounds, otherwise he may have well have won the title. I don't think that was this season, or I don't think it was the previous season, I think it was the season prior, near the start of 2023. But for the Force International Racing Team guy, he's currently doing very well. And 8th place would score him a good amount of points. And with Grosseto struggling and out of the race, he might well take the lead of the top title. Going to be very close to contact here. This is Cesana versus Lofare, and Lofare has stayed ahead by millimeters, and that was fantastic driving from them not to make any contact.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to go side by side in. Those drivers were, like I said, there was like a millimeter in between. We take a look at a replay here of that overtake, and Lafaro just trying to see where he can make the move.
I mean, I think he locked the front left here as well. You can see the smoke. I mean, good driving there from Lofare, but I mean, he was totally in the clutches of Cesana there. If Cesana was another foot deep, then it would have been a similar case to what we saw just a few moments ago between Aragon and Asugari.
Yeah, just really close racing there, and well, any bit closer, like you said, there would have been a little contact, but so far it's clean all the way through for those two that last lap. And Lafaro sitting in that podium position, he's got to try to pull away and try to catch up to Aragon. I know it's a second gap, and Aragon's a little bit faster, but you just got to try to put your head down and try to catch up.
Voltec Gamer, unfortunately not out racing tonight. I do very much recommend giving Aragon a go. I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea, and I think it will be a tricky one because it's not being used that much for people to get up to speed with it, because it's quite a tricky circuit, which not a lot of people know. But it is worth, trying. There's a couple of different layouts as well. And yeah, if it weren't for the huge amount of circuits we now have available on iRacing, if this place was released 5 years ago, I think we'd be on it every other week. But instead, there's so many other choices up there. It has been fairly dismissed so far. Edward Pop has moved up to 7th place. Captain Swimster, who has had a good start to Swimster, I think has lost that position. He's down to 8th, and Pop going defensive into turn 1. I think he'll easily hold on to that place for the Romanian, whose day continues to go from better to better.
Yeah, and Edwards just running a really good race there, trying to catch up to this battle for 5th position with Rosencrantz and the loop there, and so he's trying to catch up to those guys. But I mean, it's a 7-second gap, a really good point save for Edward Pop. So really impressive run by him, but really good job by Rosencrantz to fight his way back up to the position he started in. Started 5th, a couple seconds back from 4th, so he can. If he starts, putting his head down, he's got a little bit clearer track than he had before, so he might be able to catch back up to the 4th position.
Rosencrantz has occasionally been setting fastest laps of the race and fastest sectors as well. I'm still really surprised because, like last time out, for those who didn't see Motegi, I think Rosencrantz basically he had a qualifying ban, and I think he was 15 seconds behind after about 5 laps, and he managed to get within 5 seconds of the end of Cesana. This time, moves past Lofare, and that wasn't very tricky. He was that much closer going onto the back straight, and Lofare not giving up any sorts of retaliation. So Schnabel leading Aragon, then it's the 2 Italians of Cesana and Lofare, then it's the 2 Germans of Rosencrantz and Pallet rounding out this lead pack of 6 cars, albeit of course, Jose Alzugari, we shouldn't dismiss. He had to come into the pits earlier on. Swimster, the next to come into the pits. They're seeing a lot of early pit stops, and I'm not entirely sure why, because I don't think Swimster has damage.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe he didn't have damage, but sometimes it's worth just getting that clear track. And there's Jay Walsh low on the racetrack. Take a look at a replay here.
It's very tricky to get damage here as well because of the huge runoff areas. So we see what happens to Walsh. Just a little bit unsettled over the curve, it looked like.
Yeah, if I was driving, I'd be able to find the wall pretty easily.
I think that Walsh may have had another spin, or he was very slow through the hairpin, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think he'll be into the pits. Yeah, he continues around for another lap. But yeah, tough time for him. But yeah, like it's. I would say to describe the scenery of this circuit, barren. It is very barren. It's quite sort of eerie when you watch it on real life broadcast, because it's like such a wonderful part of the world I would certainly like to visit. But there's very few grandstands around this place, and it pretty much all looks the same as well. It's a fairly new circuit as well, so it's all just on an empty patch of land which I've plonked a race circuit on, and there isn't a whole lot of infrastructure around it. So yeah, it's a slightly unusual design compared to sort of Barcelona or Jerez that we also have on the sim. As we see Edward Pop coming under huge pressure from Platts, and Aberdeen is ahead of these guys as well in 7th place. And now Platts, I think, will be the next to move past after a poor qualifying session for him. He's still not quite able to get past the Romanian driver, and Platt has to settle for the 8 places he's gained so far. But the racing doesn't end here. The track remains fairly wide. I think Platt is going to have to wait slightly longer before his rival makes a slight mistake, and he has the outside line again. He might even try to track extend a little bit here, Pop, just to gain an advantage. But it is Platt who gets ahead, and I think the Geeks Energy Sim Racing driver will soon be up the road pulling away.
So speaking of the surroundings of this track, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Phoenix International Raceway here in the States, because I went there to the championship race last season, and I'm driving there, I'm like, are we really going to the right place? Because there ain't nothing around it, because it's just sand and dirt all around the whole track for a gajillion miles. So yeah, it reminds me a little bit of that, but this is a really cool track. I know what I'm doing after this race, Sam. I'm going to get in my simulator, I'm going to get some laps in. I'm going to try to run, they're running about 140s, 137s. I'm going to try to break the 150 mark and try to get a little quicker after that.
Well, Kevin Swemster just did 2 minutes 7. He did go through the pits, but I think you can take claim to be better than Swemster if you do that. Ooh, as Pop as he's come back, hasn't he? I thought Platt, I was saying how Platt would be gone, or even in sight soon. Not the case. Pop is coming back immediately, and he's trying to use, or he was using some of his boost. He hasn't got the boost available now, but he sent it again, and he's made it. I think Dylan Platt will be quite frustrated right now, because they are slowing each other up, and it's allowing Carl Winkler to close in, and it's allowing Lee Aberdeen to pull away. These guys battling, losing themselves about 2 seconds a lap, but it's a very competitive fight.
Yeah, you're right, very competitive fight, and you're sitting in Edward's situation, sitting in a really good points day, and just trying to get some more points. But remember, these drivers still have to pit. Here comes that send on the old left side, and just a good battle here. They're giving each other room, and they're really battling and really getting slower lap times. So maybe you'll see Carl Winkler catch up a little bit closer.
And he was using the boost as well whilst he was on that back straight as well. That was due to that was why he was gaining quite as much as he was. And of course, those who aren't familiar with the boost, you get 200 seconds of it during the race, so you can leave it on for 200 seconds in one go if you want, or you can put it in bursts, which is very much what everyone encourages. But once you turn off the boost, so you've got the boost on, and then you say, no, I don't want any more boost. Once you say that don't want any more boost, you can't have the boost back for another 100 seconds. So you can't use it on sort of multiple sections on the circuit unless you keep it on the entire time. And so really, yeah, you've got to be quite specific with it, and often you can't use it on consecutive laps on the same bit of circuit either. So you'll quite often see drivers only use it when they want to go for an overtake, obviously, or on the last lap when they've got it all to spare. You won't necessarily see it when they're just running by themselves.
Yeah, just a couple different ways to, just a couple different ways you can take that boost, Sam. So it's really interesting. As the season has gone on, you see the drivers get more used to when they want to use the boost and how they're able to make that decision because it's something you can't practice. You can't practice when you're going to use the boost and the timing. You got to do like practice races or something. But so there you go. See the pit stops. Top 11 haven't pitted yet, and then 13th hasn't pitted yet, and that is Garrett. There, he's running a really good spot. The only American in the field. So Al Zagari, he's in a position where he's starting to catch more drivers that haven't pitted yet. So we'll see if we're going to have any issues like with that happening with people who haven't pitted yet. So but he's got a lot of pace. The fastest lap was just set by Aberdeen in 7th place. So Al Zagari just able to try to catch up a little bit. And he's got a lot of pace. And this is a good chance for him to try to cut into Schnabel's lead when Schnabel comes in and pits.
Thank you to everyone who is tuning in. And yeah, if you do fancy taking part in this series, do check out apexracingleague.com in order to get yourself signed up. We have had a fair few drivers sign up mid-season, so we do thoroughly recommend it. And of course, you can also sign up to the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship as well, which takes place on Friday evening. Still about half the season remaining in that. So tune back in with Lennart Schnabel, just putting in these laps at the moment. Not under a whole lot of pressure ever since he took the lead on, I think it was lap 5 of the race or so. Had to make a move on Aragon, and then he managed to get past Al Zagari as well, who later had contact with Aragon and had to come in for repairs. But Schnabel now 3.2 seconds up the road. Who's the fastest driver out on circuit? It's a little bit tricky to tell. The top 4 are sort of exchanging fastest laps amongst themselves.
Yeah, that starting to get that car figured out with fuel load getting a little bit lower. So look to see, I would say most of the drivers, especially in the top 5, that come down and pit within 4 laps.
So by lap 19, you think they're all going to be in? I think it's a good shout. That'll be the halfway mark, won't it? What, lap 18, lap 19?
Yeah, I just think that's probably a good move. But if you're, around goes Jay Walsh again. But if you're Lennart Schnabel, you might stay out a little bit further if you're still running really good times. You don't have that clean track and not really, give whoever's going to be behind them second at the time the pit stops are over to really see how close the gap is. So I could also see him staying out because he is running his best times as of recently.
Yeah, there hasn't been a drop-off so far. Out of the top 4, 3 of them set their personal best laps of the race at last time out. So yeah, there's a lot of pace still to be had up there. And Schnabel with that slight gap means that he can afford a slightly slower pit stop. He can afford maybe to go 1 lap further and not have fresh tyres for a lap, and should still be in the lead. It's been a hard-earned lead that he's carved out, and he's still going faster. Fastest 3rd sector of anyone on this lap now for Lennart Schnabel. He is extending the advantage that he has so far built. Al Zagari up to 11th position. He's 47 seconds off the lead. It's a very slow pit lane round this circuit. It's a big pit lane loss. But even with that, I think Al Zagari is probably going to be a distant 6th around Palach. Somewhere between Palach and Aberdeen, I imagine he's going to come out.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And, just only time will tell. And Samuel Ma put on a really good run, sitting 2nd place in the amateur division and 12th overall. And he still has to come down and pit, so he's going to lose some spots, but still maintaining a really good pace. So really good job for him in that 229. I really like that livery. I think, like I've said before, Sam, when you get to the Apex Racing League, and there's always some really good schemes out there. So Samuel's is really stellar to the eyes.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that. I just heard I guess the siren of a driver come into the pits, and it was Jay Walsh who was trundling into the pits. However, Jay Walsh has either got an invisibility cloak or he's out of the car, because it seems like he might have no further action for this evening. I think he already took a fast repair earlier on, and crashing again means that he's got nothing else to give for this round of the championship, unfortunately. So hopefully we see Jay with better form for round 4 of the championship next week. We're watching Garrett Spence to currently 3rd place out of the amateur drivers. And just saying his personal best lap of the race. Still the top front runners, fairly reluctant to come in, but yeah, you must be thinking that the first one of them is going to come in on this lap, as they are all about to approach the pit lane.
Lennart Schnabel put down his fastest lap of the session, and it's the fastest lap of all the drivers. So the gap is 3.7 seconds back to Aragon here on your screen. So it's starting to really pull away just a little bit, Sam. So we'll see if he's going to be able to maintain that gap or even extend the gap between him and Aragon. So, but Aragon very fast at pretty much every track we've seen him on, Sam. So don't count him out. Don't count El Zagari out. Pretty much don't count anybody out in the top 3 or so, the ones that pitted, and then the top 3 of the field or 4 of the field. So here's a good pass here for 14th.
Yeah, that was easy for Giovinacci. Giovinacci, similar pace to the leaders, actually, at the moment, is Cesar. We'll chat to him later on in the race. He is currently 60 seconds behind the leaders, and we're thinking about 40 seconds for a pit stop. Maybe not that long. Maybe like 35 seconds for a pit stop. So, yeah, I think he's going to be around Aberdeen and Pop, probably maybe in 8th place once everything sorts itself out for Giovinacci. But yeah, running those tyres a very long distance. So Izana with the fastest first sector of anyone in 3rd position. We don't rule out Rosenkrantz as well. He's currently 9 seconds off the lead. Not as quick as what I thought Rosenkrantz would be. He was definitely the fastest back at Motegi. And I think he may well have been the fastest at Spa as well, but was embroiled in various parts of the race, which he didn't want to be involved in, because they seem to all lose him out a lot of time, a lot of incidents for him on that day. But his slowest round of the meets of the season so far, no doubt, running a bit of a lonely 5th place, but I could still see him get a podium.
Yeah, definitely podium could be in hand. I want to point this out. Schnabel, Aragon, Cesna, and probably Lafaro, all in the 137s. What's Jose El Zagari running 138.2? So they're running faster laps right now. So maybe if they have somebody in their ears, like, hey, you're faster than him, maybe stay out, you know, because the track's relatively clean. So I want to keep that in mind, though. They're starting to pull away even further from where El Zagari is. So I'm not saying he's in the best spot, El Zagari, but I mean, he's got to start getting a little bit quicker, and he's got clean track too.
So Schnabel now 4.1 seconds ahead. I do think that El Zagari, after those incidents earlier on, and with the pace that he's got, which you highlighted before, it's very tricky to see him in the top 6 at the end of this, or the top 5 at least at the end of this race. He could maybe beat Palach, but yeah, I think those top 5 are going to be gone, which would be disappointing considering that he was leading in the very early stages. Schnabel stays out for another lap. Any interest behind him? No, you got to commit pretty early as well. You can't wait for what the driver ahead's going to do. You've got to be pretty quick to get to the left side of the circuit as we move into the second half of the race. And of course, some people may be thinking, well, they're going so far, maybe they won't pit. They do have to pit. It's a mandatory pit stop in this series. You've got to take all 4 tyres, otherwise you'll be given a penalty.
You know, right as I call him out for being a little bit slower, guess what? El Zagari runs his best lap of the session. So here comes Dylan Platt in the pit road. Up 7 spots before he came down to the pits. He'll lose a couple of positions, but get the 4 tires changed and off he runs.
Swemstra, is he passing Marder, I imagine? He has just overtaken Samuel Marden, so he's up to 12th place. Will he be around Dylan Platt, I wonder? Platt is still trundling down the pit lane. He will cut turn 1. I think it will be close between the 2 of them. Platt is just behind, and we'll have some catching up to do. So nice that those guys will have someone to battle with. Not the day that really either of them wanted. I think both had compromised qualifying sessions, and maybe 1 or 2 issues in the early stages, hence their early pit stops. But they are right in play. And Giovinacci as well is right with these drivers, who is also coming to the pits. And Giovinacci is going to try to move past immediately here. And now they'll move into this very tight downhill right-left chicane. Not easy to go alongside whatsoever on bikes, let alone these very wide Super Formula cars. But they managed to do it, have these guys. And it's Platt who maintains 13th place. As Chris Rosencrantz comes into the pits and Dylan Platt spins round. I think Giovinacci somehow avoided him.
Yeah, just slight avoidance there, and you know, gold tires make a difference. You know, they get used to running 18, 17 laps on the warm tires. We take a look back at a replay here.
I mean, how has Giovinacci avoided this? He had to go right in order to see. And he's I mean, has he really not made contact though? That is incredible if that is the case. Because the car ahead of him was moving to the right. And Giovinacci didn't even seem like he swerved that much. Absolutely miracle stuff there from the Italian driver to keep a front wing on his car. And maybe just demonstrating the difficulty of the cold tyres, a part of the circuit which the drivers aren't even considering really as a corner. The downfall right there of Dylan Platt.
Yeah, really good job to avoiding that instance. Here's Edward Pop, leader of the amateur division, sitting in 10th place overall. Still has an opportunity, Sam, to catch up and make some more passes, as we see on the tower. 6 drivers, the top 6 haven't pitted, and then Ma and Spence haven't come down pit road yet. So he's sitting in a really good spot to get the amateur win and really gain a lot of points over the rest of the division.
I think he might be overtaken here though by Kevin Zwemstra, and he pretty much let Zwemstra go. So no fight really put up. And yeah, Zwemstra, Pop, Giovinacci, would have been Platt as well in that fight. Could have been a 4-car battle, but I think it'll be a 3-car battle all the way to the finish. Zwemstra up now to 10th position from a starting place of 14th. Lee Aberdeen, the next driver into the pits. Now he's going to be a little bit lonely, Aberdeen. I think it might just be Al Zugari who he comes out in amongst. Al Zugari just going down the back straight right now.
It was about a 25-second gap between him and the leader, and about 25 seconds from him and Al Zagari. So that will help us tell on where, how long it takes to come down the pit.
So he's stationary for all this time now, 7.3, and actually he's going to be a fair bit behind, isn't he? I think he's Aberdeen. There goes Palach. No, it's going to be close actually. Maybe he is ahead. He was closer to the pit lane exit than I thought, and he is ahead of Aberdeen, of Al Zagari, marginally. With those cold tyres though, you might struggle to stay ahead on this lap. Going to try to get into the middle sector to save himself, but there's so many wide turn-ins around this circuit, and that's one of them. And no hesitation there from Jose Alzagay, who, after the contact earlier on, will not be taking any prisoners, will be frustrated with how a podium has escaped him in this race. And he's straight up into 8th position past Aberdeen. And Make Palach, of course, also completing his pit stop just moments ago, or just a lap ago. He's in 7th place. So Alzagay could very much still catch Palach. Rosencrantz 10 seconds ahead though.
Yeah, when you're Alzagari, you have to attack when the driver comes out of the pits, because you know they have cold tires. Here comes 4th place into the pits. I think he'll be pretty safe to stay around 4th, I'm going to think. I think your real battle... Oh, there goes Aberdeen off the track and cold tires.
Yeah, not good for Aberdeen. Will that lose him any extra places? It might lose him out to Winkler potentially, when Winkler does eventually come into the pits. So that could be costly there for the Australian driver. There comes Cezanne, and this will keep him ahead of Winkler. But Winkler still needs to pit, so it's a little bit irrelevant. Cezanne now top of the drivers who have come into the pits, but they all seem to be kind of going one by one, don't they? It seems to be 6th place coming in, then 5th, then 4th, and 3rd, which, if that logic continues, then it will be Giuseppe Lafari, the next driver to pit.
Yeah, I think, you know, with Schnabel pulling out the 5.5-second gap, you don't want to pit before Alicon, I don't think. I think he's going to try to wait till those 2 drivers behind him pit. That way he can come out and the track's clean. Really good run by Lennart Schnabel. He's been, you know, just putting on really good lap times. 1:37, his best lap. was the last lap. So it's always good to be running your best at the current time. Never mind, he's come down and makes in the pit stop. So 4 tires, and that's going to give up the lead to Aragon. So for the moment being,
Navarro staying out as well. Bit of traffic for these guys to deal with as well. Ooh, that's David Mola down. Haven't seen so much of Mola so far. He's running in 14th place, had to pit on lap 1. So the reason why I haven't seen too much of him was because he was involved in that incident with, it looked like Giovinacci, I believe, was involved, in Grassetto. I think K. Brown may have been involved, and several others. I think there were 7 cars being caught out in that incident. But Mola not helping his cause there with a spin. And next up to spin is Alzugari. His hopes of catching up to Palach have been compromised, and he's going to fall back into the clutches of Lee Aberdeen. So both Alzugari and Aberdeen making mistakes in recent laps.
so yeah, Aragon, Lafaro, and Winkler are the only drivers left to make the mandatory 4-tire pit stop. So it's 1st, 2nd, and 5th. So if you're Rosenkrantz and you're behind Winkler, you just got to know that he's going to come down in the pits, and here's Samuel Ma going around 3rd place in the amateur class. So there he goes around again.
He's driven a good race as Samuel. It's a shame that we've caught that bit. But we have to do it. There goes Arroyo, and that's for position as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard just to get the car going when you're just stopped like that, and especially with a high-powered car like these Super Formula cars. You see Arroyo put on a good run, Aragon in the pits, and Lafaro's going to stay out. Stable. Going to try to catch up to Aragon. So I think it should pull out with about 3 seconds ahead, maybe. Maybe it was 5 at the gap. It could. We'll see what happens here. So Rosenkrantz, your fastest on the track, though.
Yeah, Rosenkrantz very quick. He is now in a bit of traffic. Here comes Aragon. He'll come to be ahead of Cesano or Aragon, but the real question now for him is his outlap going to be good enough they can stay ahead of Lafaro? Considering that the difficulties we've seen drivers on their outlap so far, I've not got a whole lot of confidence, because he was only a second ahead of Lafaro before the pit stop, so he may well decide to extend this a fair bit longer and go to the 30 lap mark, or he might want to come in on this lap and see if that's enough to pull off the overcut. Winkler the next into the pits, and Winkler will drop down to 12th position. I thought Winkler would be a lot higher than that. I'm not entirely sure if maybe something's happened to Winkler, but that is him back out onto circuit behind Cesar Giovinacci.
Speaking of fast times, Rosenkrantz gets into the 1:36.66, and that's what you call boost. But like I said, Lafaro, the only driver that has to come and make that 4-tire mandatory pit stop. It's going to be close. I think if he pits, he'll end up being around 2nd. I think he'll come out in front of Aragon, just because those Aragon and Cesar are battling right now, so they might slow him up a little bit. So if you're Lafaro, I think you stay out until about the 33, 34 lap mark, you know.
Here comes the move then. And he wasn't able to quite pull it off. Initially was Cesana, and Aragon stays ahead, but this is costing them, and you're absolutely right that Lafaro will surely come out of the pits in front of these drivers now, because they're fighting so much. And Cesana pitting a lap earlier, he's got more grip right now, it's clear to see, but he needs to make that pay right now, because this advantage won't necessarily last for the rest of the race. He looks one way, then the next can go to the outside. He's not going to get much luck from out there, I think, and once again he's just a bit crowded out. The inside is being afforded to him here, and there's going to be contact between the two of them surely. Cesana has to lock up the brakes, keeps it in a straight line barely, and that allows Chris Rosenkrantz, who has been absolutely flying along this entire stint, to move past into 4th position. Cesana there just wasn't quite sure which way to go. Aragon looks initially he might be covering off the inside, then he moved to the outside, and Cesana was reacting, and it was costly for him.
Yeah, it was very costly for him for the reaction there, but it could have been a lot worse. Could have really made contact and take both the drivers out. So he kind of, you know, took the L on that one, but only dropped, you know, really one spot, maybe two if you think he was going to make the pass. But Rosenkrantz was a big winner of that because he's got a lot of pace, and I think he's going to be a few short moments between he's going to be on position for the podium. I think he's going to have a good battle with Aragon, and that's what LaFaro needed to see on his relative. Is them battling. Here comes Rosenkrantz trying to defend.
Cezanne's just absolutely sent it. I think Cezanne had pulled off a similar move earlier on another driver, and yeah, it's the retaliation. I don't know why Rosenkrantz didn't defend that one off or use his boost. You can see Cezanne is now using his boost. He's fighting with everyone right now. It's the Italian driver, and after thinking that he might move up into second position a few moments ago, he's just trying to hold on to fourth position right now, and him and Rosenkrantz will go alongside. They come very close to contact. Good avoidance driving there from Cezanne just to open up the steering to avoid him. Here comes Rosenkrantz again. I think there might need to be some evasive action again, and Cezanne will be very, very frustrated in that cockpit right now, because he has come out second best in 2 battles where he might feel like the other driver was at fault. He's down to 5th position now, and the 2 of them have lost 3.5 seconds to Aragon ahead.
I think I like what Rosenkrantz did earlier on that tight left-hander when he kind of just let him by, because if you run side by side, the chance of you coming out without a junked race car is very slim. So a really good move by him. He kind of just gave him a taste of the old medicine too. So Rosenkrantz sitting in 4th, and Aragon able to pull away because of that battle. Here comes LaFaro into the pits. We'll keep an eye on where he comes out. 28-second gap to 3rd. So I think Schnabel will take over the lead, but I really think LaFaro will come out 2nd.
It will be close, because on this lap, Aragon's actually been faster than LaFaro. So he was actually half a second faster, was Aragon on LaFaro's in. So that might be enough. That maybe, despite getting ahead initially, I think LaFaro may have lost a bit of time in the recent laps. It might be enough for Aragon to get back ahead. Here they come. I think this is going to be for Aragon, honestly, because he's going to have the inside line for turn 2. They're alongside into 3, and it did come down to tenths of a second, but Aragon maintains 2nd place, and I do think if he'd pitted 1 lap earlier, LaFaro, he would have had that 2nd place.
One thing to keep in mind is that LaFaro's got the fresh tires, but they're cold, so he's got to be very careful with his first couple laps. He has to just stay in striking distance, Sam, because if you stay in striking distance when it comes down the end and you have some boost left, you hope you got a little more than the driver in front of you, which is Aragon. So the gap's about 0.8 of a second, but if you just put your head down and try to catch up and see if you will be able to make some moves as they're on lap 27 and 37 with Schnabel way out in front. But the real battle is for 2nd position and the final spot on the podium. LaFaro holds it and he wants to get up a little bit further, but Rosenkrantz, if he could put down some really good times, Sam, I could see him catch up and make it a 3-car battle for 2nd and 3rd.
Well, he's just set the fastest 2nd sector of anyone, as Rosenkrantz. Ever since the pit stops, Rosenkrantz has been the fastest man on circuit. On high fuel, he really didn't seem to be that much of a threat. Didn't help that he had a fairly weak qualifying and a very weak start. But once he's been in a bit of clean air, he has been a weapon, as we anticipated he would be tonight. Cezanne just saying the fastest 3rd sector of anyone, as Aragon says the fastest 4th sector of anyone. They are all pushing 100%. LaFaro now 1.7 seconds behind Aragon, so that's the fresh tyres that he's had to deal with basically, and now we should see LaFaro's pace start to recover now that those tyres will be in a slightly better condition. But yeah, if he can't afford any more laps like that, he needs those tyres to be in their perfect window immediately, because Rosenkrantz now only a second and a bit behind.
Yeah, Rosenkrantz just sitting there and looking at LaFaro in front of him, just needs to get a good couple laps in and take advantage of having a little bit warmer tires. As you take a look at Aberdeen, who's had a struggle all race, but he's on the rear end of Alzagari, so able to regroup and have a good battle for the 7th position here.
half, thinking that might be an opportunity. And I think he is going to take the opportunity now. And after that spin, which looks like it might send him to a race of destitution, really, and loneliness out there. He has been able to find another driver to overtake. And he's up into 7th place. There comes the move again from Alzugare. And that was a big surprise. And Aberdeen had to leave space. And now who's got the boost on the back straight? I think both of them aren't using it at the moment. And Alzugare is going to have to go the long way around. This is about to the 7th position at the moment. They've got 7 seconds behind them. They've got 9 seconds ahead of them. And so they are going to be completely by themselves for the end of the race. Good defense there from Aberdeen, taking that inside line, which isn't something that we've seen a whole lot of drivers do so far tonight. Not a whole lot of defensive driving. Alzugare with brilliant straddling speed. He must be using the boost because he is catching at a rate of knots, and he's straight back through into turn 1. Alzugare back into 7th place, but you can hear on the left we've got Aberdeen moving back alongside us. And, well, that whole section from the hairpin to turn 1 has produced some pretty incredible racing, and this part of the track hasn't been bad either. There's not going to be an overtake this time, but really, once you have that run onto the back straight, the racing continues for an entire half lap over.
Oh yeah, it's one of those tracks, if you don't make the pass, you're going to be side by side or really battling hard for the rest of the way through. And you see Aberdeen has taken a little bit different approach. He's been driving a little bit deeper in the corner. That really hurt him as Alzugare was able to pull away. The gap is a half a second now. It's about 3/10 before that turn. So Aberdeen just made a slight mistake, and that's maybe all Alzugare need to try to keep the gap if he can use his boost to help out a little bit, pull away.
It's really closing up now for 2nd position between Aragon. Well, sorry, it's not really closing up for 2nd place, it's closing up for 3rd position. The Barrow being caught by Rosenkrantz. Cezanne just set the fastest lap of the race. Rosenkrantz has to get past him, otherwise Cezanne will be past himself and up into 4th position. What frustration it is for Cezanne. He was so close to getting past Aragon a few laps ago. Unfortunately, had to take a bit of evasive action, and if it weren't for that, you can very possibly see the man in 2nd place. Instead, he's down in 5th, and has got several overtakes to pull off in order just to get himself on the roster. There goes Aberdeen, swooping move at turn 1. He'll go off the circuit, pick up a 1x. He won't matter too much. He's got 20 to play with in this race, and now there's going to be contact between the two of them, and you must say it was coming because they were getting closer and closer to one another. Alzugare will take 7th place, a position that he will undoubtedly keep to the end of the race. And Aberdeen will go back to the pits and, well, might use his faster pair if he's got it spare.
Yeah, on board with Alzugare, and you can't turn there.
Was he enough alongside going into the corner, or to deserve some space, or was it too late?
Whether it was too late or not, he ended up junk. So it might have been a little too late, but you know that's why I'm in the booth and not in the driver's seat. So, but here comes contact there with Rosenkrantz and Cezanne there, and Rosenkrantz going to try to cross him back over. Now he ain't gonna like that one.
Feels like that's about the 3rd time that Cezanne has pulled off that move into the hairpin. I mean, I've mentioned it a couple of times. The MotoGP business here a lot. That was a block pass, and Cezanne's absolutely got that block pass working, where he's able to just stop it on the apex and pretty much not give the other driver an opportunity to turn into the corner. And Cezanne up into 4th place. But here comes Rosenkrantz again. And that is, I think, a similar pace to where he overtook earlier on as well. Cezanne will try to come back underneath, and this is brilliant news for Lefaro ahead. It looked like he was going to be a sitting duck to these drivers, but all of a sudden now there's a 2.5 second gap over them. Cezanne retakes 4th place, but depending on who's willing to use their boost next, will surely be ahead when they reach the line next.
Yeah, it's you know, Lefaro's a big winner in that situation as those two battling behind him, and off goes Rosenkrantz. He goes wide, and now it's not a car in the lead lap behind him, but Rosenkrantz falls back a little bit, but you you got to regroup, put the head down, drive forward, and short memory here, and try to keep up and catch back up to Cessna in the 4th position, because you know he's got to be a little upset right now, but you got to keep your emotions in check.
Thank you to the title sponsor for this series, Apex Racing Academy, for helping us out on this championship. Apex Racing Academy, of course, providing data packs for a variety of cars, whether that be TCRs or single-seaters, GTs, rallycross, oval cars even, covered by Apex Racing Academy. Do visit apexracingac.com in order to get yourself a subscription. And of course the drivers in this series getting a free subscription to Apex Racing Academy just for signing up, which is a pretty neat deal, and especially in a new car like this, to get up to speed that much quicker. No speed needed for Schnabel. His gap has come down a little bit in recent laps, but it's still a comfortable 6.7 second gap, and it does look like we are going to have our 3rd different winner in the first 3 races this season.
Yeah, don't you never know. I don't want to hang out the chickens, you know, and see what happens here. Schnabel, like you said, pulling away. Good effort. He's got a little bit off pace, a little bit from Aragon, but when you have a 6.6 second lead, you just have to maintain your pace, make your smart passes when you get up to a lap car. As you see, he's got some lap traffic in front of him. That's the 213 of Garrett Spence. So he'll give him room. Going to move over, and perfect timing there. You couldn't ask for anything better if you're Lennart Schnabel, and comes in with the points lead. Sam, if he finishes where it stands, he's going to extend that. So a really good run for him. And like you said, we have a drop week, but you really don't want to have to use it. Here's Rosenkrantz with the try to maybe make a big send there on Markle.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do the Cezanne move on Cezanne. Oh, they're both in. What's gone on? Oh, they haven't both got drive throughs, have they? They may well do. I'm not going to look, because generally it's not good to look in sims to see who's got incidents, but we can see what happens down this pit lane, whether they actually come into the pits or whether they've just got drive-throughs. They had 20 to play with, but they've used them all. And on the same lap, because of them battling with one another, they've gone over the threshold, and it's given Make Palach a 4th position, which a couple of minutes ago you could dreamed of, process.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful when you know you're close to that limit, and you got to look at it. Is it worth trying to maybe get that position? And look what they lost. I mean, they did lose just technically 1 spot, but still, you have to keep that in mind. You have Al Zagari right behind you. I mean, who's showing a lot of pace, lap 33 or 37. So still time to get it done. So just kind of a shocker that happened on the same lap.
And of course, I'll be thinking, if I just kept it on the circuit, then he would have gone off the track and I would have taken his position. I'll probably be thinking that for one other. Of course, to be fair, they did sort of push them to the limits and over the limits with the battling that they were having. Look at that send from Rosenkrantz. And, I mean, the two of them having a mini soap opera between the pair of them, full of trials and tribulations. And well, that's another one right there with the rejoin from Rosenkrantz. And honestly, I can't see these two getting to the end of the race with the way that they're racing right now.
Yeah, it's been and there we go. This could be dangerous. If you're sitting behind them, you just let them, oh, here comes the big send.
And Rosenkrantz almost forcing him off there. I mean, that is spectacular driving from Cezanne to pull that one off. He is an absolute weapon. And Rosenkrantz is in again. What's going on? There is an extra penalty at 30 instance.
Yep, he's got a black flag.
Wow. So he's reached 30 incidents then in that case, I think. What an awful round for Chris Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, that's
in fact, no, he is coming into the pits. So has he got damage maybe after that contact? But it looked like he was all right. But did you say he had a black flag? So maybe he got a meatball.
Yeah, maybe a meatball. No matter what happened, his race is pretty much over. We'll take a look at the replay here and just. These are two drivers that don't like each other at the moment, and hopefully They become better friends throughout the week.
I know that you get fantastic racing in tin tops and particularly touring cars and stuff, but I think it's the precariousness of single-seater racing which makes action like that all the more thrilling. The fact that if you got a bit of a door bang between two TCRs, it's not a big deal. But those guys there, not for the first time in this race, so close to one another, millimeters away from one another. And if they had made contact, then it could have well been steering damage. Well, to be fair, it seemed like maybe there was steering damage anyway for Rosenkrantz due to his trip into the pit lane. So yeah, pretty crazy fight between the two of them. Rosenkrantz back out into 13th position, and yeah, we'll probably stay there to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Schnabel's still leading, but Lefaro with those slightly pressure tyres, he's got 3-lap pressure tyres, then Aragon. He's been really quite quick. He's been the fastest man out on circuit for pretty much the last 5 laps, and it's given him a chance now to get that second place because he's only 0.3 of a second back. And if he has the boost, this is the time when he can start to use it.
Yeah, I mean, they really put on a good run here. I think Lefaro can and potentially can get around Alicon here, but it's that one spot's very important. But it's a long season. You try to get as many points as you can, but I don't think it's worth trying to drive it in and make a really aggressive move. Maybe have some contact here. So still really good run by Lefaro. Up a spot from where he started. So that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, meanwhile, Alicon started on pole position and hasn't really led since the first 10 meters of the race. He immediately lost it to Jose Alzagari. And since then, has been just playing catch-up, really, as Alicon. Lefaro did lead during the pit stop sequence. He went longer than anyone else in the field to give himself the fresher tyres in these closing stages. Came so close to doing the overcut on Alicon. Just missed out, maybe went 1 lap too long in that first stint. He's got a really good chance now because even though he's going to be suffering from the dirty air right now, he is staying within a car length throughout this middle part of the circuit, knowing that it's the back straight where the chances will really open up for him. I mean, he's only 0.2 of a second behind here, and you can see their green light is on. That means that they have the boost available, and I would be very surprised if neither of these guys use the boost on the back straight this time out.
Yeah, I think you wait till that last lap when you have the boost available and just try to time it where you can use all of it. Just try to use all of it you have left in that final lap. And there comes the
they're
boost.
using it now. Yep. So no effect really. Now, can they use this boost to the end of the race? Is the big question. Have they saved it up enough? You've got 200 seconds during the race. A lap time round here is about 85 seconds. Apologies, 95 seconds. So you would have needed to use barely any of it in order to get all the way around the circuit. So I think they're going to run out. And there you can see the red light now coming on for Lefaro. He has run out of boost. He's got nothing else to use. Meanwhile, Alicon continuing to use it, and he's going to try to make a break for it as far as he can, whilst he's still got it. Meanwhile, Cesana has moved past Alzugare. I think that's down at the hairpin, and it's up into 5th place.
Yeah, really good job for Cesana to get into the 5th place. And I tell you what, though, Alicon, I think, made the biggest move of the race for second on back. Had enough boost, had more boost than Lefaro, and that really helped them out. I don't think it's necessarily what's going to keep them out in front. But here's the battle for Edward Pop, man. I tell you what, for an amateur driver to finish up in 8th place, or potentially 7th, and your next amateur driver is in 15th, that's going to be a great point stay. But if you're in that situation, you got to be comfortable with 8th because you don't want to cause a wreck. I know there's a 1 lap gap between him and 15th place, but still, really good run for him though.
And you got a few more corners for our race leaders. Well, this is still going on. Rosenkrantz is going to get past Giovinazzi. Rosenkrantz just set the fastest lap of the race. He's 2 seconds faster than pretty much everyone else out on circuit. And he's been able to very quickly catch the Italian driver. But out in the lead is going to be our 3rd race winner in 3 rounds, and it's going to be an extension of his championship lead. Then Schnabel wins at Aragon round 3 of Apex Racing Academy Super Formula goes his way. Aragon, with that boost he was able to use on the final lap, finishes a second clear of Lefare. There was no chance, and really smart drive from the Masked Devils driver in order to save that boost until the closing stages. He'll take it despite starting on pole position. He'll be happy with a second place. Lefare in third, and Paluch will finish in a lonely fourth, but a very grateful fourth, because really Cesar, Alzagari and Rosencrantz were all looking like they were going to beat him, but that did not happen. Pop trying to get past using a very alternative racing line against Rennsport. It's not going to happen, but it's still going to be the amateur race victory for Edward Pop for the first time this season, and that's a crucial boost in his championship hopes.
Yeah, what a great point stay for Pop to, like we said earlier, 8th place overall, and your next amateur drivers in 15th, 16th, and 17th. So that's the kind of run he needed to for good points throughout for this season. Still got a long ways to go, but anytime you get good finishes like that, it's always good to get a good run like that.
And just a couple more drivers to cross the line, Giovinacci and Cabral. I will give another quick shout out to VRS, another sponsor for this series. That's Cabral, just about keeps it on circuit. VRS, of course, offering software and coaching for drivers on iRacing, whether that be in road cars or oval cars. Over 50 cars, I think, covered by VRS. Huge wealth of knowledge on the platform. But of course, they also provide hardware as well with their wheelbase, their wheel rim, and their pedals as well. And of course, in order to buy them, you can go to vrs.racing, or you can go to apexracingsim.com. Where there's other services as well available at apexracingsim.com. Dean Veyer with a lighter car across the line. In a way, he's lost that front wing. I hope he hasn't done the whole race like that. He will finish in 18th place. Oh, why is he not crossing the line? Come on, Dean. Hopefully his pit stall is not too early. Otherwise, he's not going to finish the race. Oh, he's made it. He's made it. Good. Well, let's have a look at the final standings. We pretty much went through them already, but it's good to have some clarity on it. There's Schnabel, 7 seconds clear. We will have a chat with him in just a few minutes' time. He was ahead of Alacon, Lefare, Paluch, Cesar, Alzagari, Zwimster, Pop, Winkler, and Mola. And the rest of the field are behind that. But yeah, let's have a chat with our race winner, a man who already had a couple of chats so far this season with. Well, this is the first time we've been able to have a chat with him as a race winner. Lennart, congratulations. I think that's now every position on the podium that you finished this season. You must be delighted with that one in what ended up being quite a comfortable race victory.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, starting P3 all easy. I knew that I'm faster than Yosu, and I was just taking it really easy, especially in the first 5 laps. I can count lockups, off tracks, and slides on one hand, and yeah, it was really clean. The whole race was just really good to drive. I was taking it so easy that there was basically no danger of me spinning out.
How was it with the track temperature round here? Was that an extra part to play, or was it not too noticeable?
It was basically like the BRS reference lap time-ish thing, and so I was prepared for it. It was mostly like this in the official series as well. So yeah, I was really happy with it to know that the track temp is the exact same that in practice, and it really suited me.
And does that make any difference when it comes to the tyres, and how was the tyre wear tonight generally compared to the first 2 rounds?
I think if you take it too hard with the car, the tyre wear is going to be noticeable, but I wasn't really feeling any of it. As I said, taking it easy. Try to not log up, try to keep the car steady in corners, and then you're basically fine and have no problems at all. My tires were like 85% at the end of the race, after the second stint obviously, but the first stint wasn't much worse.
Well, it seems like you really managed the race very well tonight, Lennart, and yeah, you have quite a commanding lead in the championship going into the next quarter of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to the whole team. They had a bit of a rough day today, but I think we're gonna get up there at some point in the season. And then shout out to you guys. Thank you for the stream. I'm gonna have a look later on or tomorrow. I don't know yet, but I'll definitely watch it.
Nice one. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Lennart, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you very much.
Lennart Schnabel there, your race winner tonight. Avery, who would you like to have a chat with?
I think we bring in that race winner from the amateur division, Edward Pop. Winner from the amateur division here. Congratulations on a really good race, and you know, with the amateurs finishing quite a few spots behind you. How was it racing up with the so-called pro class and with the at this track?
Thanks, Ernest. First of all, it was a great race. I had the pace all week, so I felt I could keep up with the guys in front. Sadly, I made a mistake on the second lap. I tapped Lee. He's fun. I let him pass a couple laps later, but I just want to apologize to him. I have this opportunity. Other than that, it was a good race. I almost got Kevin there on the last lap, but it was just too fast for me today.
Yeah, it was a really good battle between you guys in the final moments of the race. Take us through, you know, going from the beginning of the season to now, how the tires wear here, because it was so much hotter than last week at Motegi. How was the tire wear for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I could tell when I first started practicing that the tire wear was going to be a lot higher this week than it had been on the races prior. You did have to look after the tires a little bit, not that much because we got new tires in the pit stop phase, but this was the first time when the undercut really could have worked. I think it didn't really. I went for the overcut. I was battling with Dylan at that point. He was just a second behind me, I think, before he pitted. I pitted on the next lap, and he was already 7 or 8 seconds behind. So the overcut was really powerful around here still. I think if the stints were like 10 laps or so longer, the undercut would have been a strategy to go for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the pit strategy throughout the field. You know, before we see you next week at Suzuka, is anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
So my team, especially Dorian, I haven't seen what he did tonight. I have to check the stream. I'm going to do that right now. I'm really looking forward to watching it. It's always a very cool experience. So thanks to my team, and thanks to you guys as well for making this possible.
We appreciate all you drivers coming in and providing us a good opportunity to cover a good race. So we'll see you next week.
We'll see you then.
So that was our amateur race winner, Edward Pop there. Let's next have a chat with our second place finisher, Marcus Aragon, who joins us now. Marcus, congratulations. Second place from pole position, maybe at the start of the race, I imagine you wouldn't have taken that, but I think at the end of the race, after the various battles that you had, you must be very happy with second.
Yeah, definitely. This time I was struggling a lot. I don't know how I get the pole, but I knew that I will struggle on the race because my pace was awful. In addition, I made a lot of mistakes, and it was impossible for me to be with Lennart, so congrats to him. And yeah, first of all, sorry, I want to apologize to Josu because we had a contact at the beginning of the race. I don't know exactly whose fault, but I was very wide in the hairpin, so sorry for him.
Yeah, it seemed like a tight one, that one. very much a pinch point, that corner, and yeah, it was a bit unlucky that you guys
Yeah, for sure.
got involved in that one. How was it near the end of the race? Because it seemed like you saved all your boost. I mean, how much boost did you use in the first 37 laps? Because it seemed like the last lap and a half you were on it non-stop.
Yeah, I was trying to save the push to pass to the end, but to be honest, after the pit stop, I wasn't sure that my position was 2, 3, 4. I don't know, because we catch a lot of lapped guys, and fortunately, I was able to keep the P2. And for the end, was trying to be constant, don't make mistakes. Fortunately, the guys behind me were fighting, but at the end, Giuseppe again catch me, and in the last, fortunately, the last 1.5 lap, I have this push to pass, so I achieved the P2.
And we head to Suzuka next time out. That's personally my favourite track of all time. Do you think that these cars will mix well with that venue?
It will be amazing. You know, Suzuka is a fantastic track with the first sector, and this car is made to race there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to be there.
It should be good. I mean, it's the ultimate combination, isn't it? Japanese high-performance single-seater at Suzuka. Should be epic. Well, congratulations, Marcus, on your podium result. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to?
Yeah, the spotter again, my family, my team, Musket Devils, and this time, especially me, because it was a very hard race with a lot of mistakes, but I fight to the end and I achieve a good result.
Definitely. Congratulations, Marcus. We'll see you back in a week's time.
See you, Sam. Bye, guys.
So that was Marcus Aragon, your second place finisher. And then we've got time for one more interview. Giuseppe Lafaro is ready to have a chat, Avery. Not sure if Avery is... Oh, wait, Avery, are you
we're here. Yeah, I
Hello,
got this one.
everyone. Hello.
Hello. Congrats on that final spot on the podium. You had a
Thank you.
really good race. Can you take us through the race for you?
Yes. To be honest, I struggled a bit in the first stint, and I wanted to congrats to Leonard Schnebel. That was really fast in the first stint. I managed to overtake Cesana in the pit stop. I tried something different because I knew that if I would pit at the same lap or a lap later, I would battle with Cesana, and so I would lose even more time. So I decided to stay out, do some hot laps, and then try to overtake also Marcos. Obviously, it didn't work another time. Also last time, he overtook me after the pit. But in the second stint, we and Marcos were slightly faster than Leonard, but obviously he was too far away. I tried to overtake Marcos by using the push to pass, and so be near to him, but he had also the push to pass, so it was impossible. The qualifying wasn't perfect. I missed a couple of turns, and I made a couple of mistakes. And to be honest, I'm slightly disappointed because obviously I want always to win, but I mean, I didn't train a lot, and it was my first race here in this track, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think very happy to be with that performance. Like you said, you struggled a little bit in qualifying, but still able to use some really good pit strategy to finish up on the podium. It's always a good point stay when you finish up top in the top three. Before we send you off to Suzuka, anybody like to thank?
No, to be honest, no.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that final spot on the podium, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Giuseppe Lefaro there, your third place finisher, getting some good points. Giuseppe, one of the many rookies to Apex Racing League this season, and one of the highest performing one of them as well. I think he'll be up there in the championship standings after tonight. Avery, I think I already mentioned it a bit before. Suzuka, man, what a circuit. And these Super Formula cars, of course, visit that place every year. I think they visit there twice, actually. There's a few circuits that they visit twice, and I think Suzuka is one of them. Should be mega, and I think the drivers should really enjoy unleashing these cars around that circuit, which really will be the best demonstration of the performance of these cars because of the layout of that track.
I will tell you this, Sam. I used to despise Suzuka until week 1 of this season, and I took the production car challenge. I think it was week 1, but ran that Mustang around that track for hundreds of laps, and it's really grown on me. It's one of the, I promise viewers, I will drive the Super Formula at Suzuka to get a good idea on how the cars are going to handle there, because it's, like you said, it's a perfect track combo with the Super Formula at Suzuka and, you know, other adds to the combo. A great group of drivers. So I can't wait for 1 week's time when we head there for another great round here on Apex Racing Academy Super Formula.
Yeah, should be mega. Make sure to tune in for that one. And of course, there's plenty of other action going on Apex Racing TV as well over the next few days. Tomorrow we've got the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. We've got the Radical Racing Challenge as well, the official series returning. We have Weekend Warriors on Sunday. We've got Rick Motec as well next week as well. So do make sure to subscribe to the channel, and then you can catch all of those live streams which are coming up. And of course, do check out the Apex Racing League and Apex Racing TV Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. Also our TikTok account as well. You can find that on that platform as well. Thanks to SDK Gaming, to Virtual Racing School, and to Apex Racing Academy as well for supporting the championship. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Avery McDonald, and from Samuli Kume, we will say goodbye, and we'll see you back in 1 week's time at Suzuka for round 4 of the championship. See you then.